Hi, everybody. Welcome to the second hour of Mindshifters Radio. Today is Thursday, August the 28th, 2025. And we welcome you to the show. We've had several days just awesome processing. And last night in the CoDependence group, it was fantastic. And so we welcome your input, your questions, your comments. And Michael will be with us here in just a minute. And just say, today is Lincoln's first time around the sun celebration day. We do not have him today, but we are blessed. We'll have him again tomorrow. So we hope that your day is going good. We hope you're using the tools. And I did get an email from a gentleman that is in Singapore. No, he's not in Singapore. Where is he? Australia. And he is experiencing, he says he's got, I was pulling up his email, pardon me. He says, Michael talks about how he healed some trauma in his back by breathing or something. I have a lot of spinal problems that I would love to fix. Where can I find out more? So I've been responding to him. I don't know if Michael's got something else on the agenda for today or if he can. I sent him the link to Sarno and told him that Sarno says that back pain is unresolved rage. So I have a session with him over the weekend sometime. He's supposed to let me know. So anyway, I'm going to say welcome, Michael.
Thank you, dear heart. And the truth is, whatever disease processes are going on, there's no simple answer. And the truth is that no matter what disease process there is going on, there's a really simple answer. So it's all depending on the mind, to the complex mind, the truth is going to be very complex and difficult and hard to reach. And to simple mind, it's going to be pretty simple. And the bottom line is, there is one power in the universe that we were all given at the moment of our first breath. And it is the power that will undo and resolve every energetic pattern that results in disease, whether the disease is physical, mental, emotional, relational, financial, political, doesn't matter what it is. There is one power that will undo it, and it resides inside of us. And most of us are looking out there, and the truth is, all it needs to do is be revealed. And you were designed for revelation. We were each designed for discovery of the truth of who we are, if who we are has been buried. And being buried is a disease. And I don't care what the diagnosis is, whatever it is, it's because the true being has been buried in some energy that's a lie. And the lie needs to be forgiven. And we live in a culture that keeps telling us that forgiveness is about how I'm going to let you off the hook for what's happening inside of me. And that's foolishness. If I choose to pardon you to let you off the hook, that's fine. Maybe you did something that's really off the wall and it's appropriate for me to pardon you. Or maybe it's appropriate for me to call the police and testify and have you put in prison because you're such a danger to the society, whatever it is. But none of that has anything to do with forgiveness. And I'm realizing more and more that the real forgiveness process reveals. And you look at that word revelation. You're designed for private revelation. There's no private revelation. You have to go to some authority. Who do you suppose wants you to believe that? The authority. And so correction comes when we're willing to let loose of what doesn't belong. And then once the correction occurs, then you begin the work of undoing everything that you created that came from the air. So the original, or the first piece of work to be done, is to open the space to enter your own life, your own physiology. You know, when Yeshua says, in order for you to live, you've got to die, he's saying there's a false self, there's a lie, there's a cover up that needs to be removed. And that was called death. But it's only when that happens that life starts to show up in physiology. And we're each designed for life. What's the lie that's been told? What needs to be forgiven? What needs to die in order for you to truly enter your physiology? And then, yes, then the work of real forgiveness begins. That once that original error is undone, then the tool of forgiveness becomes important for the undoing of what never belonged. The insanity that flowed from the original error. And then the work begins. So I'll look forward to hearing more about how we can support this gentleman from Australia and what his work is. And beyond that, how's everyone doing? What's exciting in your world? We had an awesome session last night in the CoDependence to Interdependence facilitated session. Miss Susan, how are you feeling about the work you did last night with the group?
Hello, everybody. I feel
Hey,
really, yeah, I feel really good, really good. Just, more and more just resting into the presence and letting whatever needs to be revealed. And just to share with everyone, my human self always wants to be extremely prepared and have like, all the slide presentations. And I didn't do that yesterday. I probably 40 minutes before we started. I had a really busy day yesterday, so I just put stuff together and it just came through. And yeah, I felt the most probably peaceful of all the sessions I've done so far
we
with last night. Yeah, just letting it
actually
flow.
a couple of sessions back, I forget exactly the circumstances it came together, but it made me think of a story that I heard a long time ago that really is expressive of it. And it's a story about the mom who's got the daughter who's 4 that's busy and always into things, and she's always trying to find something for her to do to keep her from being underfoot.
Mhm.
And the girl, the 4-year-old, has taken an interest in geography, and her mother finds a huge map of the world. And so I said, I'll keep her busy. And she gets out her scissors and cuts out this whole map of the world. And she hands it to the little girl and says, here you go. This is something you'll enjoy doing. And she figures, well, that's going to take her months.
Uh,
And about 20 minutes later, the little girl comes back and she's got the map of the world assembled. And the mother's like, how did you do that? And she said, well, Mom, I noticed on the other side of that map that you were cutting out, there was a picture of a little girl, and I put the little girl together, and the whole world came together.
Oh.
And when we put ourselves back together again, it's like,
Oh, that's
and
so
and
landed. That's so
and
landed.
we have this power in us that's right there to do it for us and
Mm.
with us.
Yeah, thank you. Oh my God, that's so landed. Just that really landed. And it is coming together and also inviting all of me to exist. And Dr. Tim I think it was last week or earlier this week, he illustrated the ACE study where people that have trauma, I guess they did it in the 90s, where they, assess people and traumas and then how that impacts on their life. And so there was 10 categories, and I looked it up, and every one of those I've been affected by.
Mm,
So what it helped me observe, so as I'm stepping back to be the observer of this life, of this human, I could see why she would have had these coping strategies of fawning, or the coping strategies of fierce independence, and the coping strategies of finding intimacy too painful, and not, being guarded in life, and also where she would have had the perception, the intention of holding perception that men are a threat and I have to treat them in irritation. So I understand. It gives me understanding, and now I get to make a whole different choice because I'm healed. I'm whole. I'm working. I shouldn't say I'm healed. I'm whole already there, and it's just catching the human up to what my
yeah.
soul and spirit already knows. So the truth can fully incarnate into this structure. Yeah. So I
Yeah,
feel really blessed.
also it's an interesting word, that word intimacy.
Yeah.
And when you look at the judgments we've been taught to have about ourselves, nobody wants anybody to look at that. And so putting out that invitation into me see
Mhm.
can be an interesting one.
It is, and the thing is, it doesn't, as we know, your work has been teaching, so there is nobody out there. It is the intimacy, it's my intimacy with God and me, with Rukha, with that, and cultivating, and really cultivating that relationship. And then the fruits of that relationship will be mirrored back to me in what is I've creating in my reality from a space of love, where I realize now, my history, because of all of the experiences within this human, so much distortion in this mind and self-deception. And the lesson today, of course in Miracles doing it aligned, it talks all about goals today on the lesson. It talks all about self-deception in the lesson, and the lesson today is 133. I will not value what is valueless. And the only relationship, and even Dr. Timms today talked about the most important relationship, is the relationship between me and the Creator. And everything outside of that, he said in this call, the only relationship, and he was referring to chapter 4 and the way of mastery, the only relationship that holds any value at all is your relationship with Source, your relationship with the ocean of your Creator. I mean, it's coming all, my perception is being able to, having the awareness to take that all in. So yeah, it's beautiful. And I'm really getting so much of facilitating and really going into deep process work with this process, and everyone holding space. And yeah, it's very, very profound. So I thank everybody that's participating on my journey. Yeah.
Well, thanks for inviting us along.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Just deep gratitude. And I look forward to what I will create as an ever, and Tim said about talking about mastery. It's being an ever going forward as a student and letting life reveal in the present moment, knowing I'm rooted in God. So yeah, just showing up and allowing life to flow through me rather than holding back in constriction of fear that I have to control life, that I'm safe. This is such a new space for me, that I'm really safe to be held in this life. Yeah, I can just even feel it saying that I am safe.
Whitney Houston sang a powerful piece of music. I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way.
Yeah, I play that song all the time. Yeah.
Show them all the beauty they possess inside. Give them a sense of pride to make it easier. Let the children's laughter remind us how we used to be. Everybody's searching for a hero. People need someone to look up to. I never found anyone who fulfilled my needs, a lonely place to be. So I learned to depend on me. I decided long ago never to walk in anyone's shadows. If I fail, if I succeed, at least I've lived as I believe. No matter what they take from me, they can't take away my dignity. And it's interesting how much the focus in the Course in Miracles about how central loss is to the ego's thought system. And you look at that thought just so deeply reflected in that song. They can't take away my dignity, but boy, they can take everything else.
Yeah.
But then realizing that discovery of self as love is such a powerful reveal.
The revelation and
yeah.
The revelation. Yeah.
Joining you in the revelation.
Yeah, and it's interesting because even with the worksheets and facilitating this group and all this goal setting, which in this lesson today it talks about that, the ego's goals. And I realized, the mind, the replicate mind's the one that's holding all the goals because we're already all it. And when we can let go of the goals of the replicate mind, that's when truth drops in of who we really are. And it's revealed. There's nothing to do. It's only the replicate mind seeking the goals, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my take would be that once being is revealed, then you realize that database with all the goals it has from all of our genetic history, that those goals are not the ones that are designed to live by, that being frames, chooses, sets the goal, and the rest is creation. So joining you in that creation.
Thank you. Yeah, and it's showing up. I just want to let everybody know it's showing up in all areas that I'm perceiving. Like I had dinner. My son's going to university. They left today because we live in Prince George and he's going to Victoria, which is 12 or 13 hours away. And his dad's driving him. So I had dinner with them last night. And normally there would have been a trigger between his father, the way he was acting. I would have been quite triggered and feeling unworthy and all this stuff that would have come up. And I was able to hold myself and realize it wasn't about me. And I did the whole brain posture and which is just telling myself, I'm innocent, he's innocent, and holding myself in whole brain. And it shifted the energy immediately and it became more love. In the moment. And it was just by the change, holding my intention in love. And so then it changed my perception to love.
What a gift to give your son.
Oh, yeah.
Not to have to pass on the generational pattern. What a gift.
Yeah, and it's just so I'm seeing it so many different areas with friendships, with just all different. My entire the intention, the perception of my world is like what you said, lifting off my virtual reality headset glasses. So having that on and my world's all in here. I've lifted it up and then rotated it 90 degrees and now it's come back on. And it's all because I'm holding myself as I now go forward in the world. That little girl is my priority inside. She's the most important part in coming in and checking with her and how she's feeling in the world and what's up for her and what meaning is she making. And then I help her correct the meaning making to bring it back to love. So that's where I think Joe, the reflection last night, for those that don't know, I helped Joe through a process last night, and it was also my own.
That was powerful. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really good. So yeah, thanks for asking. I appreciate that.
Yeah. And there's let me start differently. I think that each of us as beings, as created love, are designed to receive the original being, receive the nutrient of the original being of each person we interact with. And of course, especially in those earliest relationships, the nutrient of a father and of a mother that are in being to feed and nurture us. And then each person that we interact with in a true world would deliver in their presence, from their presence, a nutrient that would feed us. And we're designed to receive those nutrients. And so just when I hear you speaking of what you're able to do for and with your son, yes, for
Mhm.
yourself, of course, but for and with your son to send him off with that full state of being there for
Mhm.
him rather than being in whatever the story could have been with his dad and what have you.
Yeah.
It's just such a gift to give the children.
Yeah, really. And you know what? Also, even we were commenting to him last night about, so I, for people that don't know, I left home very young at 15. And my analogy to him is our job as your mom and dad is to make sure that when you go into the world, your tool belt is full. Whatever you encounter, resiliency, that you'll be able, like you have self-worth, the foundation that's rooted in attachment. So anything that comes your way, you have strong resiliency to adapt to anything that you face. And I was giving him the example for both his dad and I didn't even have a tool belt. And so I was running around trying to figure out what are the tools.
Well,
And
actually, we each have a tool
mm,
belt. And
yeah,
unfortunately, our tool belt's hostility and fear and
yeah, that's it.
self-deprecation, et cetera. They're the tools that the
Yeah,
world
exactly. I guess that's right. Thank you for
so often
correcting that.
teaches us.
Yeah. And so giving him, I want to say the right mind tool belt, I was operating from the ego mind tool belt of hostility and fear and the tools to adapt in this world. And I see as I observe him, he has got his mind on right. And he walks in the world with such level of dignity, of self-worth, of self-acceptance, and self-value. And I see it. And he doesn't, so he's not interchanging in the world that the world's out to get him. He just holds the presence that he is love. And even if somebody does something that could be perceived as hostility and fear, he would say something like, "Oh, they must be having a really bad day." Nope,
Brilliant.
doesn't, yeah, no personal, taking it personal. And when he sees his dad, who still is in wounding in a big way, he sees his wounding and he doesn't take it as though it's something wrong with him. I mean,
Nice.
oh, yeah. So that's that. So that song you said is exactly on track. And even so for Duncan and I, given our origin, that we were able to facilitate and cultivate an environment so he can now venture forth in his own maturity in his life in university. And that, yeah, I feel really blessed with that piece. Yeah.
Sweet. So breathing into that with you, joining you in holding the space for him and his learning process and his creative process. And if it weren't a verbal medium that we're in, where words are expected, for me right now, it would just be easy to say, okay, so let's just breathe. Let's just receive that presence and that connectedness. But it is a verbal medium, so we'll keep on talking. So how is everyone else doing? Terry, my apology, I haven't gotten back to you. Jeannie had a gathering this morning that I had agreed to go to, and our morning just piled up, and I literally walked in the door from completing our morning outing and project about 2 minutes before the show started. So you were sharing that you had gotten a lot of insight from what Susan shared last night in the CoDependence session. I don't know if any of that's appropriate to share here, but how do you be?
Good, and I just tuned in. Today is my belly button birthday, as they say. So,
All
uh,
right. Happy Eternal Day.
thank you, thank you, thank you. And
We hold that this is going to be the best year yet of your eternal life.
I'm signing up for that.
All right.
Okay.
We'll co-sign with you.
Then I'll tell you, there's been so much constantly coming up the last few weeks, and thank you, Susan, again for orchestrating this. And like I'm gonna reiterate what Joe was saying last night, that just doing a wonderful job, and you're bringing forth a lot of language and content, and it's almost a streaming content. It comes up so readily and quickly through you. So I try to make notes and keep up. And there's been a lot of that going on the last few weeks, as I said. And specifically, I've got several notes. I don't know what are we. Do we have a few minutes just to touch on
Go
a few
for
of
it.
these?
That's what we're here for.
Yeah. So one of the things that's been um, asking for my attention is that when we say there's nothing out there, no one out there, or nothing out there, that it's all in the mind and stuff. And so I was having a real conflict or challenge with that internally. And what landed last night was there is no out there. And
Exactly.
there's a concept that I adopted years ago, and around it's all God. I said, and my deductive reasoning was that either there's God or not. And this is when I was at a going through the dark night of soul. It was crossing from addiction into sobriety, and it's like, okay, either there's a God or not. There can't be God or it wouldn't be God. So with that, I just settled on that, and that landed real nicely. And it's like, okay, it's all God. So now, what does that mean when you see all the war and the strife and the struggling and all that? So now we have a better explanation that I can use. Where, okay, yeah, there's no out there. It is all God. But the dynamics that I'm playing out on the drama of my stage, that's the reality, that I'm projecting, my projections. And I was just really, like I said, I've really been working on that for the last couple of weeks to come to some understanding. And that's where I got to. There is no out there. It's all here now. It's all God, and that feels right. And so now, okay, well, then what's going on? Then what's going on is there's the actuality, which is the whole body of consciousness and everything, or the godness. That's the godness, or all. And the reality is what I'm doing with these pieces and bits of information through this human processor I've got through my own mental constructs and all my projection and all, and in working through that. all this stuff's just so interconnected. So when Joe mentioned time travel, it was like, oh my God, it's like that's what I've been feeling like. Is that I've been experiencing for the last few weeks at a real intense level, where all the memories are coming up, and so looking at that, it's like time travel, because the mind doesn't know any difference, between what was going on at that actual time. I mean, I'm loosely describing it. It's just like there's some type of difference, but there's a deep no difference at some level, where when I'm replaying these things at the unconscious and subconscious level, that's all happening. I am time traveling back to those points, and that's when we access what's going on in the unconscious through that. I love that time traveling concept, and that I can consciously travel. I'm traveling back, and then collapse. That's when I bring it forward and collapse it. And that was a nice piece that I got together along with that. But then the biggest one was when I do the worksheets, and I've done lots and lots and lots and lots of worksheets, and I've shared that video was really great last night, the PowerPoint, Constantino, and I've shared that at least 100 times, because it's like it just blows me away every time. It's like, wow, you got to see this. And mostly I get back, echoes of silence. It's like, okay, I guess they didn't see what I saw, but uh,
Gotta have
working.
the brain cells.
Yeah, and working through, it's like, don't you see what's going on there? But here's the thing that came out of it, was that on that worksheet, all the worksheets that I've been doing it, and one of the big things that comes up for me is that when there's the, I love the punishment thoughts of them and me and self, and self and self. I'm blaming them, and the construct that I've created outside myself. Blame, 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 blame. That's a very, very common thing. But then there's the punishment. A lot of times is the emotion that of the fear or the pain or the anger, whatever that I'm feeling, is my own punishment. That's my self-inflicted punishment. And I'm still working on how to exactly lay this out to share, and you guys can chime in and help me on this. But like, I'm hiding in plain sight is what came up, and it's like, because I would have these when I would shift from the external blame to the internal, and I'm grasping for the words, the internal blame, or whatever's going on internally, what I'm punishment, internal punishment. Then I'm actually still dissociating from myself. And I'm not seeing myself as another projection, because I'm a projection, but I don't get to see the projection of myself out in the physical world, because I'm always seeing that like in my mental construct. Once I look down at my feet or something, I'm seeing a leg or a part of me, but I don't see that whole separate physical entity, because there's this awareness, consciousness awareness going on in my mind, and projecting the screen with the eyeballs, the antenna, all that's going on. But I had not connected it at this level, that, oh, wait a minute, you're doing all this stuff as if there really is still a separate you and them. And what I was doing was I was hiding in. Do you understand what I'm saying when I'm hiding in plain sight?
Got it.
I'm hiding in plain sight.
SIN, self-inflicted nonsense.
It was the breakthrough for me. Oh my gosh, I'm hiding in plain sight. All I'm looking for is just right here the whole time. And just I wanted to get to share that with you, because it just helps me to assimilate, digest, and understand things so much clearer. So anybody out there who has the opportunity to join this the class and follow along the radio station at the same time. What a powerful experience. So I'm gonna stop and get some feedback on that for a few minutes.
I would like to, first of all, I want to commend you, Terry, that, some people, when they've, learned material on something and they aren't always willing to go in to see new eyes with something and be willing to be the forever student, as Dr. Tim says. Mastery is that, being willing and going deeper and deeper to have a new perception on something. And what you said over, starting this work again, coming back around again, you are widening your awareness even deeper and going deeper into your own personal story, your stories, and then finding your way back to your true awareness and the depth of what you're seeing of, in your world, that, oh my God, I'm just another actor on the stage. It's a hologram, and there's my avatar, and I'm creating this world through the content of my own mind. And then I would just offer this one piece about actuality and reality. So actuality, there is only one truth in actuality. God is love, absolute. And when something's absolute, there can be no opposition. That is who and what we are. And then overlaid is the stage of this world, which is temporal and illusory. And many people, I don't know why my hand went up. I must be asking myself my own question. So the outer world is illusory, and it is the journey for each of us in this world of illusion to have the great revelation of that of which we truly are. And you're right on time. The depth of your awareness that's coming in, and you went through the experience of seeing how far from separation you could go from that love through addiction and all the stuff. And many people, they never find their way back to the truth. And you've used that storyline as a springboard to return you back to your essence and to find the truth of who your being is, and then obviously to be a way shower for others in the truth of it all. So beautiful. And the humor that you find in and laughing, saying, oh my God, this whole stage is I'm not only am I the actor, I'm the director of the game, and I've also produced it all. And we're like, so bravo. And thank you for your mirroring of that you're being able to see with new eyes the way that I'm presenting Michael's and Jeannie's material. And so I really appreciate you, and I really appreciate you being present. You bring a lot of beautiful energy into the group and awareness. So we get to go deep. And as Michael says, we really are going to a new level with his work. I feel it. I can feel the energy of it, which is being supported through us, all of us, with Rukha Takucha. And Michael trusting the process to allow me to participate in that. I'm deeply grateful.
I want to throw in the Aramaic idea or meaning of the word illusion. In this culture, we tend to think of illusion as something that doesn't exist. But in Aramaic, that word comes from the root, which means measured. And you remember they said, as you measure, it will be measured unto you. Each of us gets to live in the illusion. That is, whatever we have measured, we end up constructing as our reality, as our experience. And to forgive what we and our generations have measured into this energy system, for want of a better term, and then to come from a place of awakened conscious awareness where what we measure into the system is based in love, is based in being, and rather than karma, which in that context I would offer is playing out what's been measured over the generations into our structures. The willingness to dig those things up through forgiveness and remove what has been measured, and then to originate, especially in the place where the mind says, "Oh, I should be measuring some of this old rage or condemnation or guilt or fear into this person's mind. That's what I should be giving them." To shift and trust Rukha and being and measure the active presence of love into each situation. And there was a man named Marcel Proust who said the objective, or the journey, I believe was the word he used, is not to look for new landscapes, but to develop new eyes. And I don't think as humanity we're going to really start to comprehend what humanity was created for until we truly start to function as human beings. That is, in the space where the world calls for, resonates some form of hostility or fear that's been measured into us, to replay it, rather to apply forgiveness and default to measuring from the active presence of love. The thought occurred to me today to ask how everyone's doing. You know, I'd offered an assignment to a week or so ago to be in mindfulness, and in that state of mindfulness to consciously, purposely listen to that statement from Rumi that said, "Your pain will result in more pain until your eyes exhale love as easily as your body yields its scent." How's everybody been doing with measuring from the active presence of love, the extension of love to every person that your eyes fall upon, including, of course, yourself in the mirror, and dissolving, forgiving anything else? Anyone having to share on that thought?
Well, I took up your challenge and certainly applied it, and that's something I have practiced off and on. So hearing it offered again and is encouraging me to, oh, let's do this a little bit for longer, deeper, and better, I guess, for lack of another word, and then understanding the correlation between the actuality and the reality, and what we're creating, and we're given the freedom to create heaven or hell. So why would I want to create hell? I don't know, because of all this craziness that's gone on and has happened and all that. And then my mind wants to say, well, it's all just atoms and molecules anyway, and it goes back to the energy. But that's not the point. The point is that we've given the opportunity, and I'm just getting this right now from what you're saying about the measure, is that we're given the opportunity to push forward something, and then and we measure it or get a measurement back, and that becomes our reality. So we're creating our reality, so to speak, in the way that we, well, in the best way that we can, and by going through the process, we're either putting forth, like you said, the love or less than love. but you got to have the awareness and all these other tools and abilities to do it. There's one little point, and then I'm going to move on unless somebody else share it. There was a point in my healing process a few years back where things got really powerful and deep, and I felt like I was a ghost walking the earth and that no one could see me. And it was like I was falling back into the construct of what reality that I was making and seeing it in a different way. Because there's a lot of different healing crises levels and pieces that have come through. And I don't know if that's helpful to anybody or not, but it was a very strange occurrence. And anyway, that's enough out of me. Thanks.
Wouldn't it be awesome to get to the point where none of us had the capacity to measure into our minds or into our mouths, into our words, anything other than conscious, active, present love? And if we could imagine a 0 point where that's where we all hit a restart and forgot anything based in any form of hostility or fear, even toward those people who deserve it. What if we had no capacity to do anything other than turn with a mind of love toward ourselves in the mirror, toward every individual? You know, just kind of roll that around in brain cells and then sing the song to yourself. Listen to George Harrison's voice as he sings Imagine. No hell below us, above us only sky.
That's beautiful. Thank you. I I long ago when telephones developed this amazing capacity to have an answer machine, I put that song on my answer machine, and it was, and then I would talk, I'm not here right now, but I'll be back and I'll call you back. And I've loved that song ever since. And thank you for reminding me. I also wanted to make one quick comment. Michael, when you came on this with your voice, I loved the pacing of your voice. I realized that I resonate with a certain pacing of voice, and I have a couple of friends that have pressured speech, kind of talk really, really fast, and my I have a little more activation when I am around them, but it was startling when you just spoke up, and you obviously are in a real grounded space right now. And I thought, oh, yeah, that's nice. I had to laugh at myself because my body and mind are being very clear about energy right now and what resonates and what I have to work to, more work to work with. Anyway, thank you. And I appreciate it
Yeah,
too.
and as you go ahead.
Oh, I also wanted to appreciate what Terry had shared. Thank you.
Cool. Well, I had a really sweet and powerful impact yesterday. Usually our grandson comes in and has his morning nap with me in the morning. along about 10 o'clock or so usually. He'll come in and lay beside me and go to sleep. I'll put him to sleep. And yesterday, Jeannie brought him in as he was, on the edge of fussy and ready for his nap. And she sat down on the side of the bed and laid him down beside me. And Lincoln has just turned a year. He's not using words yet. He's understanding words, but he's not using words yet. But he laid there for, I don't know, a moment or two. And then he got up and I was laying down and he got up and just laid his head across my chest, put his head down and went to sleep. And there's a presence in that that's just really impactful.
Mm-hmm. I could almost feel the energy of that. I love that.
He used to bite my nose. Before he got teeth, he would bite my nose. And when he got 3 bottom teeth, I started saying, Lincoln, you can't do that. And he now is at the point where he'll come over like he's going to bite it, only he won't do that. He just nuzzles his nose against my nose. And like I think it's his learning how to give a kiss. He certainly gets lots of them from his mom and his dad and from Jeannie and his sister especially. But
Ah,
just being with that presence is amazing.
maybe he can come to the intensive.
Mm,
I'll
he
probably,
very
on the
well may
days that
come and
I'm
visit.
feeding him, I'll probably bring him.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll at least have a Lincoln moment.
Yes. When Aria was that age, for a year and a half, 2 years, her nap time was right at radio show time so just about every day, when it would be 2 to 3 days a week usually. We usually have them 2 to 3 days one week, and then the next week we have them 2 days, and the other grandparents we switch off. But she would be sleeping in the crook of my arm every day for that radio show. Lincoln is a little more active, and the only time he's done that was the show that I did about a week or so ago, where we talked about that passage in Hebrews and the shifting, the words from the Greek, who in that particular passage 12:6, if you look it up, really, it's communicate beatings. And in Aramaic, when you go to the Aramaic words, it communicates caring and gentleness and support. So that whole show was the first time that Lincoln actually, went to sleep at showtime. In any event, extending that presence to each of you. And Celinda, you had your hand up? Oh, you still do have.
Yes,
So you have a
yes,
thought for us,
sir.
young lady.
Yes, I do. I thought I would share my vision I had once on Kauai, because I think the metaphor for it might be helpful for everybody in relation to our understanding the one where all is one, and yet the diversity and special expression of each of us of that one at the same time. In light of what Terry was saying, Susan and everybody. When I was on Kauai, I was reading a book that was called If You Meet the Buddha on the Road, Kill Him. Of course, that's the only thing I remember about the book. I remember nothing else. And all of a sudden, I was in the middle of reading it, and I heard in my head I heard this cacophonous roar, but it was very faint. And as I tried to discern where it was coming from and decide it was in my head, I don't know, I was totally awake, but I wasn't. The noise got louder and louder and louder, and there was also this bright light in the distance of the very dark distance. There was this bright light that got bigger and bigger and bigger, a shining luminescence. And finally, I got big enough to where I could see that it was a diamond, and multifaceted, many facets on this diamond. And it came closer and closer, and all of a sudden I could see something that looked like a little ant, and it got closer and closer until I saw that there were teeny tiny people on each one of these facets. And they all had this book that they were waving in the air. And of course, none of them could see each other because they were on this angle of this facet. And each one of them was saying, I've got the truth. This is the holy book. And they just were a roar. And that's when I left the Episcopal faith and the Christian, the quote unquote normal or common Christian faith concepts. But anyway, what I wanted to share with lately, I've become aware that of Shakespeare's play, and I'm going to take a little leap here for myself and possibly someone else, that every one of those little facets on that ground of my being, which I decided was the truth and absolute reality and the one that contains the many, I have come to think of Shakespeare's stage, and basically, other than his love sonnets, the only thing he had were comedies and dramas. And I've spent almost all of my life in drama, in wove. And I have decided, why don't I just switch to comedy and wonder? And I'm the writer,
Awesome.
along with my ancestry of the play, and I'm the director, and I'm the producer, and I'm the actor. I'm all of the above, and I'm probably all characters in the play. And I just realized when you all were talking today, I have been having reflections on what grounding means, the ground of my being. And the diamond is talking. If that's applicable in any way, please share it and expand on it for me, and we'll see what we end up with if it's appropriate. Oh, and I'm playing the fool, by the way, Michael, and everybody else. I've decided the fool was the only smart dude in the whole.
The Wile E. Coyote.
The Wile E. Coyote, the trickster. It's the fool of the tarot cards, where it's this innocent young person with the hobo stick and the doggy yapping at its heels heading for the cliff. That traditional tarot card depiction of the fool. And he's got this big smile on his face, and he's looking up. And you say, is the dog yapping at his cliff a bother, or is it telling him, would you look down and see where you're going?
Well, joining you and looking up, seeing where we're going.
Well, I'm also going to look down, sir. I don't want to go off the cliff, and after all, that's the ground of my being, and I'm diving deep. It's like Meister Eckhart said, there are many wells in one river.
I love it.
Yeah, I love all of you. I love all of your sharing. And if I were single, I would be in this interrelationship class, the one from codependence to interdependence, I would be there right away. Just have chosen a route that
You've cut out.
realize what
Cindy.
it's exactly the perfect route. Because as Byron Katie says, if it weren't, it wouldn't have happened. Seeing fruits, Michael.
All right. Sounds good. Sally, you have another thought for us?
I wanted to thank Celinda for the diamond. I haven't been given a diamond yet today, but that was a really sweet image. And bringing Kauai back, I was just working with uh, I am the household repair person, so I was in the yard working on the house today, and I had someone helping me, and so there was much discussion about Kauai and the insights that I've appreciated from there. So I'm really looking forward to seeing you all at this intensive. I just don't get away too much because I'm with my mom, but I'm just feeling the energy of it. I'm feeling excited about doing something for myself and with you all. So I wanted to say that one last note.
Cool. Well, we'll look forward to seeing you then. And thank you, but the hour's gone already. I don't know where it went. I just looked at the clock. It's like, well, it's 3 minutes after 2. You got to be kidding. So thank you for joining us, and a heartfelt appreciation. I open my being to embrace you in my love, and I open my being to receive your embrace.